uh, uh, getting the opportunity to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome, man. You don't know, it was on the tip of my tongue, but you know, I couldn't say anything.
Wow, man. That's funny. So when he told me, I was just kind of numb for a few minutes, and it had to really sink in. And I just know that the history of Indiana basketball and just all the great players that have came through the state, and to be able to be recognized to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame is definitely truly an honor and a blessing.
You know, and I'm assuming for the audience out there that's listening, I'm assuming that was Ralph Taylor that gave you the call.
Yes, sir, Ralph Taylor, yes. And he was one of the guys, you know, a Washington alum with Billy Keller in that group. And then, you know, George and Steve and those guys followed, and, you know, bringing state championships to the IPS schools or Washington within itself. And so I always knew about those guys, and, you know, kind of like looked up to them, and you know, but you, like I said, you just, me personally, I never just dreamed of being one of those guys that would get a chance to be selected to the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's well deserved and awesome. And actually, we have a special guest that's going to pop in here and probably going to give you congratulatories also. Let's see if he shows up here. There he is, Kenny Barlow.
Hey. Oh, what's up, Big Beats? How you doing, man?
Big Sherman, hey, look, congratulations, man. I just heard some great news.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. And also, too, I'm glad that we connected. My sister, I think a week or two ago, sent me something that you had wrote, I think on your blog, or, you know, the, what's that they call it?
On Facebook. On Facebook.
And, man, I wanted to just say thank you for doing that, man. It meant so much, man. And Kenny, you know as well as I do, you know, you was just as much as a part of that, bringing the best out of, you know, myself and my Washington teammates, and just the competitiveness that we had with you guys. And so thank you for doing that, man. And you was a great player within yourself.
Hey, man, listen here. You know, you my idol, sure. I mean, hey, I have nothing but love for you, man, and appreciation for all, not just on the court, but even off the court, man. I mean, you always a class guy, man, and we were always trying to keep up with you, man. So I know you're a humble spirit, and you don't receive that well, but you know the truth is the light. So we're gonna set a whole bunch of people free.
Oh man, thank you, man. Appreciate that, man.
That's good, man. That's good. So obviously you like me. Listen, I'm in my car, man, but I'm not driving, so I'm sitting still. So I think we all good. We all good. Right. Is Billy here?
Yeah, I'm right here, man. I can see both of you. You Hallville legends, you.
Hey, man, I want an office like that, man. Let's look at all that memorabilia you have in there.
Yes, I see that. Yeah, Billy does got it going on, man. Wow, man.
Well, my newest piece is that Mike Woodson autographed photo back there in the back, because you know I'm all about Broad Ripple.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Broad Ripple, Coach Bill Smith made it into the hall with your class also, Sherm.
Oh wow. Oh, that's awesome. I know you know, of course, besides like Kenny and Cathedral, those guys, Broad Ripple was a big rivalry, and you know, prior to Tech in 2014, they were the last team, IPS team, to win a state, and well deserved. I mean, well deserved for him. He was a great guy, and didn't know him personally, but from what I've seen and how he handled all those guys that came through there, I know they all respect him and really appreciate what he done for them.
Sherman, Barlow, when was the first time that you guys played ball against each other? Do you remember?
I'll let Kenny answer that, man. I think I'm a little bit older, so my memory.
Yeah, hey, listen, my brain, I'm a senior citizen. I get AARP messages too, so I'm kind of old. But I think sometime in high school, it might have, I think our sophomore year, because listen, I'm going to esteem Sherman again, because my freshman year I played freshman, but when we went over to play Washington, Sherman was nowhere to be found on the freshman team. He had already been moved up. But I think we caught up with him the next year, my sophomore year.
Yeah, and I vividly remember them. I think it was at Washington, and you know, Scotty was a freshman then, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he either started or he was a part of the rotation. And they had a good team back then, and didn't know at the time, a couple years, you know, down the road when me and Kenny was both seniors, that, you know, both of our teams would be good enough to be able to go to the state, which was at the time one class, and eventually Kenny and them got us in the regionals. And I thought for sure once they got, you know, past us, and that they would win state. And to this day, I still think that they were the best team out of that Final 14 there that year.
Ooh. You said a lot right there, sir. Listen, I tell people all the time, you know, with a lot of respect for a lot of teams, it was a lot of great teams, but our biggest challenge really was playing Washington that year in '82.
Yes.
I mean, you guys had a great team. It's unfortunate that they only take one team out of Indianapolis to the Final Four.
Right.
Because we had to, you know, we had to beat each other up. We had to play you guys. Also, Howell was really good that year.
You're right. Exactly.
Jerome Brewer and those guys, and Tony Gilbert and those guys, and they were pretty good over at Arlington. So
yes.
I think they were all ranked in the top 20 in the state, and we are playing in the same regional or sectional.
Right.
And so teams got eliminated. You know, even with due respect to Muncie Central that year, I thought the regional was a lot tougher than the semi-state.
Oh, I definitely agree, because you're right. Howell was in it that year, and I think you guys had them in the morning, and
we did.
Y'all came back that night and beat us. So yeah, you're right. But yeah, I do remember, like, you know, as Billy was asked, and I believe we were both sophomores when we got a chance to play against each other, and then, you know, it just kind of continued on from there. And one of my biggest moments with Kenny, though, and he'll probably, this was when we was all at the BC camp. And I got a chance to hang out with him for that week. And it was a lot of us, and Scotty, and you know, a bunch of different players around the area. And that's when I kind of got a chance to get to know Kenny. And the reason being is that my roommate had left, and I didn't have nowhere to stay. I didn't want to stay by myself. So Kenny would let me stay with, I believe he might've been rooming with Scotty. So he would let me stay with him and Scotty. But the problem was I quit going to the different things that were being thrown up on us. And so they would make you run if you didn't show up. And so my number was 333. I never will forget. And these 333, and I'm hiding in Kenny's in their room, and Kenny's like, all of a sudden he tried to play this prank on me and start making noise and beating on stuff. And I don't want these guys to know I'm in the room, man. Come on, Kenny. Back at that camp, it was a lot of fun.
Hey, you know, I'm still mad at you about that camp, though, Sherman. Tell you the truth, I thought I had put my vote in for you. I told everybody you were gonna win the dunk contest. I did. I'm like, man, there's some good guys out here. I said, but Sherman back in the room, he didn't want to come out here and dunk against you guys because he's bad.
I didn't want to run, man. I seen all the punishment they were doing with the guys. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna have me running and crawling and doing all this crazy stuff. But yeah, but that was a good week, man. And like I said, we got a chance to connect and to know each other off the court. And I think that's the beauty of basketball, Billy. You know, when you meet we play against each other, but at the end of the day, we're great friends.
Yep, I agree with that.
Now, did you guys, if I'm not mistaken, I think you both did, but, you know, we just lost Coach Red Taylor from Municipal Gardens. Did you guys both played for Coach Taylor, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did.
Yep. Each of you guys give us your thoughts on Coach Taylor and what he meant to you.
Go ahead, Sherman.
Oh, wow. I was going to actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, Billy. I think about him, and it was also a guy named Mr. Don Stout. I just remember them like opening up the municipal gardens to us, and just treating us like, you know, like a part of a family. They made it like a safe haven. I know Red was very knowledgeable, and he was so much respected by everybody. I mean, he had poured into so many guys. You can form almost an NBA team with some of the guys that he had, but it was more than basketball with him. I mean, he taught us life lessons, and he just had a caring heart. And I'm just so thankful that I got an opportunity to run across red and allow him to, just pour into us, not only, like I said, as far as with basketball, but just as young men, very respected by everybody. And even to this day, people, his name was always known. I mean, even though he had gotten away from maybe coaching and the AAU thing with these guys, but he was just so respected and so known. And he had a huge impact on a lot of lives.
Yeah, I would concur with that. Red really poured in. I never really heard him ever say like a negative word toward a player. I always heard him say positive things to uplift players. And I agree with Sherman. It's kind of a who he coached. It's kind of a who's who around Indiana basketball over the last 60 years. I mean, when you start talking about guys like Sean Kemp and Sherman Williams and Damon Bailey, and I mean, I think he even had Jay Edwards, Chris Thomas from Notre Dame. I mean, the list is long. I would like to endorse him. We got to get a couple guys together and endorse him to get him into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he's well deserved as a contributor to high school basketball because he had guys that had such a positive impact on them. We got to get together and write some letters and put his resume together and submit it. I think he's been a great contributor to high school basketball here in the state. No question about it.
Yeah, couldn't agree 100% with that. Yes, definitely. So true.
You know what? We're also missing two others, I think, that probably deserve a nod and be in the hall, and that's Darren Fitzgerald and Scotty Hicks.
Yes. No doubt. I played with Fitz, and he was by far to this day one of the better guards. And I played with some great guards in college, but Fitzgerald was just one of those guys that he was so gifted. People failed to realize he was good at football too. He could have easily been one of your better quarterbacks as far as in the area, maybe even in the state. I mean, he was just a gifted athlete. Most of all, he was a great guy. He was a great teammate. And the 3 years I got a chance to play with him at Washington were definitely fun, enjoyable. And, I'm just kind of a little bit bitter and sorry that he didn't go to Indiana State with me for 4 more years, but he had a great career. And, Kenny can talk all day about Scotty, and I can too. He was the guy that made me the player that I am in so many ways. I mean, we would play one-on-ones. We would, just live in a couple of blocks from each other. And I never could beat Scotty. He was just so quick and just so with his hands, great defender. For his size, he did, everything, rebounded, ran the floor well, just really smooth player. And, and I agree with you, Billy, those guys are definitely deserving.
Hey, I can't say it any better than that. Fitzgerald is who he is. Sherm had him, like you said, 3 years next to him, which was a dynamic duel right here in the city. And Fitz went on to Butler, and he's in the Butler Hall of Fame. So,
right.
And he did a lot of great things. I mean, he did a lot of great things even before the three-point line came into college basketball. I think maybe his last year.
Yes.
Scotty, actually, I'm very biased and very partial towards Scotty. I think he's well deserved as well to the Hall of Fame, having been my teammate here at Cathedral for 3 years, and then over at Notre Dame, we were roommates for 3 more years and teammates, and just a tremendous player. I could just go on and on and on about Scott Hicks. Similar to his cousin Sherman Williams, always a humble spirit and doing things the right way. Always a pleasure to be around. On top of it, I think character is a big part of it, and I think Fitzgerald and Scotty both are high character guys as well and deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
You know what's funny? It's almost easier doing your taxes than it is to get your paperwork in for the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. They don't make it easy.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I tried to take a shortcut when someone asked me about getting in the hall, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to give you a link to YouTube. Just watch the YouTube. If that don't make it," they said, no, you need to fill out the application. I was like, then I saw the application. I was like, oh man, this thing is, how many pages is this?
Yes.
Anyway, it's all good. It's all good. Takes a little work, but I think it's worth it. So
yes. Mm-hmm.
So Sherm, tell us, I want 2 things. Kenny, who called you to tell you that you'd been inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame? And Sherm, you start us out by telling us about the phone call that you got a couple of days ago.
Yes, I did. And congratulations, Kenny. Hey, man, congratulations on that. And well deserved. And, I got so much respect for you. You was, they talk about big men being able to step out and shoot. You were there. You were there. You full jumper, and we didn't have 3-pointers back then, but I'm quite sure if we did, you would have been able to float out there and pop in a few threes. Yeah, so congratulations on that, man. And well deserved, and I have the utmost respect for you, and you're a class act, Kenny. You're definitely a class act, and I couldn't be thankful for more of a better friend that I got a chance to compete against. But yeah, like I was saying, Billy, Ralph Taylor gave me the call, and like I said, I was numb, and it just kind of took a while to sink in, because like I told you earlier, to me, I just never really dreamed about being in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. You just play, you have fun, you hang out with your friends, but that never came across my mind. But it was, like I said, I was numb because I know the richness and the tradition of Indiana high school basketball. And when Kenny and myself played, it was one class, and it was a lot of great teams in the city. I mean, you had to kind of bring your A game every night. And as Kenny was referring, your sectional was tough, your regional was tough. I mean, it was just tough. And so, I'm overjoyed, bittersweet. It's just a lot of things. And just to be able to share with my family, my wife, and my 2 kids, and that means even more.
Yeah, I think we got the same phone call, Sherman, because Ralph Taylor called me as well.
Okay.
And obviously doing his job over at the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
I had talked prior to, but he was actually the person who actually sent me an email, and then he called me and told me that I had passed the test to get in. So I was like, that's a lot of work. Like Billy was saying, a lot of work, a lot of people writing letters and letters of endorsement to say that your work really meant a lot. But I think we had the same person. Ralph Taylor was the one who contacted me, and I was very much pleased a couple of years ago to be inducted in.
Okay. All right. So I missed yours. You was in there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think 2019.
Oh wow! Congrats, man! Congrats on that. I'm 2 years late, man. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, well deserved, man. Definitely, man. Yes.
Now I followed him every year, and Pancho Wright from Marshall High School went to Louisville.
Yes.
Yeah. Now listen, he has the highest regard for you too, Sherm. He talks, man. Evidently, you must have put 40 or something on them guys in an open gym one time or something, man. But I think he went in in 2018, and we were actually talking about you.
Right.
He said a lot of brothers need to wake up and understand how tough that guy was. I said, listen, I'm trying to tell him. But anyway, yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, it would be nice to go in like all of us at the same time, but I mean, just well deserved. You being a class, so that's great.
Yep. Well, I tell you, speaking of Pancho, he was one of the guys that I really looked up to at Marshall High School. Then, of course, he went to Louisville. And just like I said, Kenny, you look at all the talent that have come through, and Billy can attest to this being over at Broad Ripple. And man, I mean, you and myself to get that opportunity to be in this Hall of Fame, it's a tremendous honor. It really is. And I don't want to take it for granted. And it's very humbling. And man, again, Billy, even thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate that.
Oh, I got all kinds of love for you.
Yeah. Same here.
It was always Sherman and I worked together at the finish line for a little while, and it was always nice to go. And so did Slick Hicks. He worked with me at the finish line too, and it was always nice to go over to the Ben Davis basketball courts. And that's the only time that I never had to come off the court.
Oh.
And what is it about Hicks and Fitzgerald? Why are they so like cool? They're just smooth. They're just, especially Fitz, man. Fitz walk around looking cool like a cucumber, like, walking around Lafayette Square like, he needs like an entourage around him.
I'm gonna let Sherman answer that question.
I don't know. It was just something about, he was like that in high school. He just was kind of like had, ice water in his veins, just never got rattled, never got upset, just even killed. And I don't know, how that came about. I know he had great family support, and and just a very humble guy. But yeah, you're right, Billy. He's just so cool. Nothing never bothered him or rattled him. You know, I just never seen him get upset, honestly, and playing with him for 3 years. And then the same with Scotty. I mean, he was just silky smooth, and he just went about doing his business, almost like a Joe Dumars, just really quiet and just that quiet assassin. You know, he was very laid back, but you know, when Scotty got on that court, he would bring it. You know, he would bring it, and he was just one of the toughest competitors to me at his size, but he just did it in such a really smooth and unique way. And how that came about, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Sherm, tell us a little bit about what Coach Sofredo meant to you. And then Kenny, when Sherm's done, I want to know, talk to us a little bit about Obi, and you still get to see him on a regular basis, if I'm not mistaken.
Billy, thank you so much for mentioning Coach. He was an integral part of this. Just a very humble man, very caring, and he taught me a lot just about really, just really humility. I've never heard him get upset, never heard him scream. And at his eulogy, when I was able to go and share a few words, I really got a chance to see where his heart was. He just really had a heart to coach with inner city kids. I'm sorry. And that kind of, you know, opened up my eyes even more. You know, before he was at Washington, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was coaching in St. Louis, and it was a bunch of inner city kids and that he had coached. And I mean, just a very caring man. And I just seen the 4 years I was there, how he handled us, and he respected us, and he uplifted us, and just never heard him say anything negative or anything to destroy us as far as our confidence. And so to be able to be around him and have a coach like that for 4 years meant a lot. He was almost like a father figure, and just a great family man, and well respected throughout the community of Washington High School, and had a lot of impact, not only on my life, but a lot of lives that came through that program.
Yeah. Coach OB was a similar personality, a similar person. Would give you the shirt off his back, was always trying to help kids. I personally, he was very instrumental in just really allowing me to play my sophomore year when I didn't really think I was ready, but it was a great learning experience for me. And I mentioned this already about the BC All-Star Camp. Actually, Coach O'Brien put me in his car and actually drove me. I actually rode in the car with him there because my parents were unable to get me to that camp. But I think it speaks a lot to him as a person, even off the court, just trying to make sure that he was opening doors and being helpful. And he's still around today. We're very blessed to have him around today. I think Coach is either 90 or 91 years old now. He walks about 4 miles a day, and I know he goes to church every day. So he's doing things the right way, has his health still. So it's just good to still have him around.
Yeah. And Billy, I want to piggyback on what Kenny was saying about Coach O'Brien. He came and literally would come and get Scotty and myself and just take us to different places to play. And he was a great man too. He really was. And what Kenny said, I couldn't agree 100% of the statements made. And I just remember those times that we had riding in the car with Coach O'Brien, and funny guy, but also too a caring man.
Yeah.
Sherm, who did you like playing for better, Coach Shellhouse or Coach Green at Indiana State University?
Oh, definitely Coach Shellhouse. Coach Shellhouse, you know, he was a runner and gunner at Purdue. And to this day, I believe he's still maybe in the top, 5 scoring all time there, or top 10, definitely. Had a year with the Chicago Bulls and in the NBA, and his style of play was conducive to my ability as far as being able to get up and down the court and just playing the open court. And that's what he allowed us to do. Coach Green was more of a slow down half court guy, which didn't really suit me well. I thought my strengths was always getting out in the open court and just running. So Coach Shellhouse definitely, played to my strengths. And so that was a great 3 years I had with him.
Kenny, do you still keep in touch with Digger Phelps?
I've seen him periodically, not consistently. I normally go back to Notre Dame for their basketball reunions, which are like every 2 years. And he usually comes around to some of the events there. I've seen him even maybe I saw him 2 years ago when we were on campus. Then I saw right before COVID, and then I saw him at David Rivers' induction into the Ring of Honor. So there's been a couple basketball events on campus that we basically just crossed paths and had a chance to say hello and how you doing, how's everything. He's going through a few health issues, but I think he's doing just fine just now.
You know, I was talking to Coach Shellhouse, and I said, so we got Sherman, the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. We got Coach Smith in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and I said, what else am I going to complain about? And he said, well, I'm sure you're going to find something to complain about.
Yeah, Coach Shellhouse, man, I tell you, he was a fun guy to, like I said, to play for. And I haven't talked to him lately, but I did hear that he's doing okay, and that he's I don't know if he's still coaching or not, but I know, like I said, when I got a chance to play for him, it was an honor.
No, he's not coaching any longer. He's retired, and he gnaws on my ear, and I gnaw on his ear occasionally. It's great to growing up, you were either an Indiana fan or a Purdue fan, but doing this for so long, I've just got a great appreciation for any school and all things basketball.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, I see you got your Sycamore you representing, so appreciate that. Yeah.
So real quick, the state of basketball at Notre Dame, Kenny Barlow, and the state of basketball at Indiana State University, John Sherman Williams.
I think Notre Dame is in a little bit of a transition the last couple of years. They had a really young team last year. Took a lot of lumps in the ACC. But Coach Bray has been there and has actually set the standard on coaching, even surpassed Digger Phelps's all-time win record there. So he's had some success. He's been to some Final Eights, I think maybe 2 of those at least. But right now, the state I think they're still in transition. I think I think Blake Wesley, the freshman, is going to be a star. He's out of South Bend. His dad played over at Ball State, but he's from South Bend. I think he's been a great addition this year. The team still hasn't got all the pieces together. Hopefully they'll get some new pieces 22-23 season and be right back in the top 20. They've been out of that for the last couple of years, but I think they have a few pieces and they're going to be able to build onto a good program. Just playing Duke and North Carolina and Virginia and all those guys in the ACC now as a representative there, it's going to be tough to get through though with the team that they have right now.
Yeah, Indiana State has went through a transition too. I knew the last head coach that they had there personally came to kind of lost. Coach Lansing. I'm sorry, Coach Lansing. Yeah, I knew him and great guy. And so they transitioned this year to a new coach who I personally haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I do know that from what I heard, he brought a couple of his players with him at the last school he was from. They're in a tough conference. I mean, I know it's mid-major, but I think the last couple of years, if I'm not mistaken, they've had a couple of teams out of their conference to get to the tournament and win a couple of games in the first round or second round. So hopefully they get back to getting there where they can be in the top, 1 or 2 or 3 in the conference. And I know he got an opportunity to get some good players around the state of Indiana, and hopefully we can see our Sycamores back on top and competing for that conference.
Well, we have a veteran Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, and we also have a baby who has just been inducted to the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and John Sherman Williams and Kenny Barlow. Both you guys, I love you guys. You guys don't know what you meant to me growing up. Thank you for coming on the show. I know I love this kind of stuff, and I'm sure everyone will enjoy this. So I thank both of you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Billy. We appreciate your time. Anytime, man. Anytime we can help you out.
All right,
Definitely.
You guys, I'll stay in touch. Love you guys.
Okay, love you too. Kenny,
All right,
love
man.
you, brother, man. Appreciate you.
All right, you too, Sherman. Have a great one, man.
Okay, thanks. Have a good
All right.
day, guys. Thank you. Okay.